What's going on, guys? Mickle here. In this video, we are covering some breaking XRP and crypto news. Are we currently watching a mass exodus from the SEC? I'm going to be showing you guys a very interesting clip from a guy who just stepped down from the SEC, and he had some very choice words to say directly to Gary Gensler's face. This guy is clearly not happy with the way the SEC has been handling the digital asset space, and I think this is really going to show you that there's a lot of pressure mounting on the SEC, not only externally but internally as well. You guys need to see this. We also saw another 180 from the SEC in this Ripple SEC case. I'm going to be showing you guys why this could actually get them into a ton of trouble going forward and could actually force them to fork over a lot more information to Ripple than they originally had to. Guys, last of all, a US state just said that they do not want to regulate cryptocurrencies as securities. I'm going to be showing you guys what this means for the Ripple SEC case and whether or not it will have any impact. If you guys are new to this channel or come here all the time, make sure to like and subscribe. It goes such a long way in helping support this channel, and it's completely free. If you guys do not have an Uphold account already, make sure to sign up using the link in the description below. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, I wanted to start this video off with this tweet from Consensus because I believe this is going to perfectly highlight how inconsistent and how hypocritical the SEC has been in their entire regulation of the digital asset space. Right here, we have Consensus tweeting out, Consensus has long maintained a significant treasury of ETH, stablecoins, and other crypto tokens, and is actively using its own financial infrastructure for staking. Right here, we have Consensus saying that they are actively using ETH to generate yield and build out the ETH platform and build out the Consensus platform. This, by definition of the SEC, is literally a securities violation, and Consensus is tweeting out to the public that they are actively breaking this. Right here, we have Stephen Hubert responding to this, and he says Ripple and Library get sued for this, but there seems to be no problem at all when Consensus does the exact same thing. This is the biggest problem we currently have in the digital asset space. There are no clear rules. No one knows what's allowed and what's not allowed. The SEC is just selectively going after whoever they feel like, regardless of whether or not other projects are getting away with the exact same thing. And I don't even think Consensus should be punished for what they're doing. But I certainly do not think Library and Ripple should be being punished for the exact same thing that other people are allowed to get away with. And right here we have Library tweeting out in response to this, we're not trying to get anyone in trouble for this, but this is literally what we are being sued for by the SEC right now. Hard not to believe there is some corruption involved when Ethereum can state this openly in 2022 without penalty. So I'm in the same boat here. I don't want to sit here calling out Ethereum. I want Ethereum Consensus to be able to stake ETH and make money and build out the platform and everything to be good. But it's so absurd for some projects to be punished for doing the same exact things that other projects are actively getting away with. SEC is very clearly picking winners and losers in this space. The way they attack projects like Library for doing the same exact things as Ethereum and then go out and tell Library that they are essentially going to run them out of business by drawing out the lawsuit is nothing short of an attack on the projects they don't like. This has to go away, and the United States is never going to advance its financial infrastructure and become a leader in blockchain technology if the SEC keeps on acting like a bully in this space. I want to keep moving though and show you guys this. I'm not actually going to play this clip, but this guy JW just stepped down from the SEC today, or he stepped down from the SEC advisory committee last week, and I thought it was pretty interesting because he essentially goes out and essentially just tells Gary Gensler to his face that the SEC's regulations of digital assets thus far have been completely inadequate. And I thought it was pretty interesting because I didn't actually know this, but I guess this guy actually came out a while ago and said this exactly. You've got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. This is useful advice for the SEC in the Ripple SEC case. The SEC should drop the litigation over XRP's token. So this guy was clearly unhappy with being at the SEC. He did not want to be associated with an industry that was simply attacking the blockchain space and making it difficult for the US to lead the way in entrepreneurship in this growing financial ecosystem. I thought it was pretty interesting too, because at the end of his kind of goodbye tweet thread, he specifically says, don't forget about DRE. John Deaton is a gladiator. I think it's pretty clear that the SEC knows what's going on. They see the revolution that's happening beneath them. They see these people like John Deaton gathering all us XRP and crypto investors together to show the SEC how much we disapprove of their job so far. I thought it was pretty interesting. This guy clearly does not enjoy did not enjoy working at the SEC and is clearly unhappy with everything Gary Gensler's been doing. On top of that, Allison Heron-Lee also stepped down today. She was another commissioner at the SEC. Now, I'd never really seen her say anything that interesting about digital assets or XRP, but she was up for another term. She did deny it. And when I take a look at her Twitter, I think it's pretty interesting. She only has 2,200 followers. And I swear, if you go to under any single one of her tweets, you just see every single person responding to her is from the XRP community. They're all essentially just pissed at her. And while I cannot blame them at all for being mad, I think this is likely just getting to her head. She only has 2,200 followers and she can't say anything without seeing a bunch of pissed off investors essentially calling her out for the lack of leadership that her organization has shown in the digital asset space. I mean, in my opinion, she probably just got sick of seeing this and kind of realized how much of a mess her organization was. Now, guys, I want to move on to the Ripple SEC case because Stephen Hubert tweeted out something last night that I thought was super interesting. For those of you who don't know, the SEC put in a motion last night. They are once again trying to convince the court to not force them to hand over the emails regarding Ethereum's free pass speech by Bill Hinman. In that video I did last night, I pointed out a ton of inconsistencies and really examples of desperation in the SEC's filings. They cut off quotes from Ripple lawyers, they were blatantly lying, and ultimately it was a really bad look for the SEC, and I believe showed that they're running out of evidence in this case. But what Stephanie Hubert points out here is really interesting because I believe it has a lot of potential to actually backfire on the SEC and force them to give over even more documents to Ripple. So right here, Stephen Hubert tweets out, the SEC has made another 180-degree turnaround. 3 weeks ago, the SEC claimed that the Estabrook notes were only relevant if Garlinghouse's motion to dismiss were denied. Now the SEC claims that the Estabrook notes are relevant because the motion to dismiss was denied. I am tired. So what is going on here is the SEC claimed that the Estabrook notes, and the Estabrook notes have to do with Elad Roisman telling Brad Garlinghouse that XRP is not a security. Yeah, you can guess why the SEC would not want to hand those over. But the SEC claimed that these would only be relevant if Garlinghouse's motion to dismiss the case was denied. Well, what do you know? The court denied Brad Garlinghouse's motion to dismiss the case against him. So, according to the SEC, this makes the Estabrook notes relevant to Ripple. Well, now, in this filing last night, the SEC does a complete 180 and said, actually, because Garlinghouse's motion to dismiss the case was denied, it actually makes the Estabrook notes not relevant. So the SEC did a complete 180. They realized they said something in one of their earlier filings that they shouldn't have said, and now realize that it's actually really backfiring on them because they admitted to the court in one of their earlier filings, yeah, Ripple should get these notes. And I actually have a theory here that the court saw this and specifically dismissed the case around Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, knowing that the SEC had made this huge mistake. I always talk about how typically when the court rules, they like to give a win to Ripple and a win to the SEC, but it seems like Ripple is always getting a much bigger win. Ripple might get significant discovery into SEC materials, and an SEC might get an extension of time. Well, in the most recent example of this happening, the court granted Ripple a win by denying denying the SEC's motion to strike Ripple's fair notice defense. This was huge for Ripple, but in that same day, in essentially the same exact ruling, she also said that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson would not be able to dismiss the cases against them. While at first this looked like a very clear win for the SEC by keeping Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson in this case, it's actually turning out to massively backfire by the SEC, because the SEC accidentally admitted in an earlier ruling that if Chris's and Brad's lawsuit was not dismissed, the SEC should have to hand over the Estabrook notes. I have no idea why they said this. I think it was just bad lawyering, but they actually admitted that they should have to hand over a document that specifically states that a commissioner told Brad Garlinghouse that XRP is not a security. I believe this was a huge strategical mistake, and I believe the court saw this from a mile away. I really hope this comes back to bite them, because I believe this would be another perfect example of some really terrible lawyering on the SEC side. I think it's also just so funny to admit that this is literally getting called out by XRP community members, so there is no doubt in my mind that Ripple's lawyers are going to be all over this. I cannot wait to see their response to this document, because like I said in my video last night, we have already picked holes in this argument by the SEC. I think the Ripple lawyers are going to completely expose them here. I wanted to keep moving though, and just to show you guys that this is not just some random XRP guy saying this. Bill, he's a lawyer I follow, he says this is a great observation, Stefan. I raised at that time with John Deaton that this could allow the judge to defer deciding to pierce the privilege until the motion to dismiss was decided. Now we have this backflip. No one would believe it if they weren't following it. So it's always kind of hard reading what these lawyers have to say, but he completely agrees with Stefan here. He says it is actually unthinkable what the SEC is doing here, and he also agrees this could backfire massively for the SEC. I wanted to keep moving though. I thought this was so funny. Ripple donated XRP to Kyiv. I think it was almost $500,000, and I just tweeted out to the SEC, thank God the SEC is protecting me from this evil company. Clearly, this lawsuit is not about justice. I don't know exactly what's behind the scenes. Was it all a play to give XRP clarity? Was it an attack on Ripple to slow down so Consensus and JP Morgan could catch up? I don't know, but let me tell you right now, Ripple, their CEOs, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, really everyone at the company has an outstanding track record of doing the best possible things they can for the XRP community, for the Ripple clients, and really just the world as a whole. So I think it is so ironic that this is the company the SEC decides to go after with all the other bad actors in the crypto space. Last of all, I want to finish this off. This is important to point out because I believe we might see more of this, and I just want to let you guys know what it means. I already talked to some lawyers about it. Breaking: a bill to exempt Bitcoin and crypto from securities law just passed the House in New Hampshire. So I was looking at this and I was like, wait, does that mean that XRP could not be a security in New Hampshire, but could be in other places? And overall, it seems like the consensus is that even if it specifically stated that XRP is not a security in New Hampshire, the federal government could still trump this. So at the end of the day, this is kind of an intermediate step. It doesn't really seem like states doing this is going to make a huge difference, because at the end of the day, the federal government could just trump them. But I do believe this could put significant pressure on the SEC by these congressmen. If the SEC is trying to say everything's a security, and these congressmen are looking at their own bill saying, wait, why would this be a security? That doesn't make any sense. It's going to create a lot of pushback with the SEC's idea that everything is clearly and obviously securities. If states are literally saying that they're not going to make crypto follow securities laws, then it's not going to make any sense for the SEC to be going around saying, oh, well, it's very clear these are all securities. There are serious contradictions right now, and it all loops back to the fact that there are no clear rules, and that's why Consensus is allowed to do things that companies like Library and Ripple aren't. It's all a joke right now. I cannot wait for this to be sorted out, because at the end of the day, the US desperately needs to catch up. The good thing is when they do catch up, there is no doubt in my mind, you and I are going to be on the right side of the trade. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, please like and subscribe. It means so much. For now, Mickle out.